Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Ghosts. And today we found something interesting to talk about. It's not that old. It is a video I found from Jason Hawes where he addresses some of the controversy that's been going on. I guess one of the controversies is his daughter, Satori, and her boyfriend, Cody, which he doesn't really touch on very much. He did discuss this in a previous video. It was about 6 minutes long. Fair enough. I only listened to about 3 minutes of it. It basically was a father defending his daughter, telling people to have open minds. He couldn't see how they could be faking it because the sounds reverberate from all over the place. Well, we know that is not necessarily true because we've seen other videos where the sounds do reverberate, but it's coming from one source.
Right.
So that is definitely something. Now, he gets into talking about this video that he saw, and it's from Beardo Gets Scared. So you've heard us talk about Beardo before, but it's Beardo Gets Scared. That's his YouTube channel name.
Yeah.
He's talking about how things changed with ghost hunters. It sounds like he was a fan of ghost hunters and the paranormal, and something changed that I think got his eye. I think maybe the proliferation of all these YouTube channels and the paranormal world that went nuts because the ghost hunter team did so well and they became so famous. So I think that might have had something to do with now why he's doing what he's doing. I don't know. We're going to have to ask him perhaps sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he said everything got messy. Those were his words. Everything got messy after Grant's hood pull. So Jason pauses the video at this point, and he's talking about the debunking network of stuff and how he thinks it is very important. He doesn't want people to stop it. He thinks it's really important to keep it real. And those are his words.
Another thing and it was humbling for him to say sorry to the community of debunkers.
The debunking community. He did apologize for being a bit harsh, I guess, on the last video where he was defending his daughter.
Yeah.
But he also talked about how the networks have more control than people imagine. So he said that you can film, 30 episodes, but they'll only pick 15 of them to put on the air. And he said generally they'll pick the ones with the most activity, and those are the ones that get aired.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. I didn't realize that was the case. I figured that they just, aired everything that was submitted. But yeah. So he touches very briefly on Cody and Satori again. I did not realize that Satori was his baby daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he's going to defend her till the cows come home. He says that he doesn't think there was anything going on there, but that's what he's going to say in public, right? Like, I don't know what he'd say behind the scenes to them. Like, if you guys are faking it, maybe you better be a little bit more careful because people are going to find out. So I don't know if that's the case. The debunkers are on to you. Maybe you better not do that anymore.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of questions still. A lot of questions still about that. So I don't know.
That toe thing, and it does reverberate through the room. It sounds like it's behind you.
We saw that on who were they? The Ouija brothers.
Yeah.
Ouija brothers, when he took his kids, his family to the Conjuring house. Yeah. So we do know that can happen. Anyway.
Yeah.
Carrying on, like I said, it was a very brief touch, and then he moved on to talking about. So they let the video roll again, and Beardo starts talking about this pub that's in California, where the ghost hunters went. Now, this pub, I forget, something or other distillery and pub. But it's
Yeah.
in California, so they travel 3,000 miles to get there, and they hear stories of a woman's
A
voice in
woman.
the bathroom, the
Yeah.
lights shake over the bar, and a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So Jason and Grant go into the bathroom, and sure enough, this lady's voice crying or something they
Yeah.
hear. And
As soon as you
immediately,
open the door.
yeah, and immediately you see their heads go up.
Yeah.
They're suspecting something already. So they get up there and look, and sure enough, there's a recording device up there.
Well,
And
there's a
a
speaker
speaker.
there.
Yeah, a speaker. So that, of course, has got them, there's suspicions now. So then they
Yeah.
go look in the bar area, and they find these vibration devices that are by all the lights to make the lights shake.
Yeah.
And they're mad. Of course, they've traveled 3,000 miles to investigate a haunted pub, which isn't.
Yeah.
So the owners of this pub were making money saying it was a haunted pub. So they have all this stuff in place when it really wasn't. And then they invite the TAPS, the ghost hunters, to come in and yeah, to me, that was the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah.
So you don't invite professional ghost hunters in to investigate your place knowing it's not haunted, because they're going to find out. So that was really interesting. And watching Jason's face as they're talking about some of this, it was cool.
Yeah.
He's doing his best to remain, passive and not. I don't know why he's trying hard not to to make any expression, but he was trying real
Yeah.
hard, which was
Yeah.
really important in the next section where they're talking about the hood pull. Now, this
Yeah.
was a 6-hour live investigation in 2008, and
Yeah.
you see, I guess it happened like 3 or 4 times where Grant's hoodie gets tugged at the back of his neck. And there's some question about through many debunkers if this is real or not. And they're saying it's not,
Yeah.
simply because of the way the fabric on the hood moved.
Yeah.
So they think it has something to do with Grant. Like, so they think Grant faked it, because every
Yeah.
time the hood would move, his hand was in his right pocket. His hand would go to the right pocket, and then the hood moved. So, as you were saying earlier, you think it was a
Um, where you put your keys on there and you press a button and it tries
yeah,
to retract the keys.
yeah. It's like one of those key rings with the string attached to it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
the chain attached to it.
Yeah.
So they're wondering if perhaps that is what was going on there. Uh,
Yeah, but I was thinking about that. The chain would show up on the floor, though.
no, not necessarily. The way that one of the things that Beardo was saying is it was quite possible that it could have been sewn into the seam of the hoodie. And that's why when Jason was doing this real thorough look, he couldn't find it. Now, granted,
Yeah.
it was dark because it's pitch black,
Yeah.
and he's looking kind of with his equipment. So, whatever camera he was holding that had light, as well as his floor. So, his
Yeah. Well,
heat
he's
sensitive thing.
looking with the floor,
Yeah.
and the cameraman had the
Yeah.
IR light.
So
Yeah.
so they're trying to see what's going on. And he gave it a really good look.
Yeah.
Couldn't see anything. But it happens every time you see the hood, and it's not just pulled back, it's pulled down, which is
Yeah.
the question that people had. It looks like, yeah, maybe it was a string that was in his pocket and he's tugging on it. It makes the hoodie pull down, not out like you would expect
Yeah.
uh,
Like
a
jerking
ghost.
back.
Yeah. So that was really
Yeah.
interesting. And Jason says, as he's looking at it, and you could see he's squinting, he's looking at the screen because he said he'd never seen this. He never watched the video before.
Right.
So he never really paid attention to it. But he said it was no question, it's definitely strange. No question
Yeah. Yeah.
in looking at it. Now, he did say at the time, he had to take Grant's word for it because he couldn't see anything, right? And he says he's known him for 15 years. So why would the guy lie? He says there's no evidence of him ever lying before or ever faking anything before. So why now? Why would he think he would do it now? So I get that. I get that. And then he said something happened between season 4 and 5 that seemed to change a lot of his feelings about stuff going on. And one of the things was it was a piece of footage that was changed. And they didn't catch wind of it till after this episode aired. And then as soon as they saw it, it literally, the whole production came to a screeching halt, and they all walked off because they were not going to allow this production company to manipulate or change any portion of their video. So that was interesting. So you know that they're doing, I mean, production is fiddling around with stuff for views because they want people to watch. I don't. He didn't say what it was. He didn't say, but he did allude to something to do with the Fleur. I think, isn't that what he said? Something about that.
Yeah. They tried that. They added an image into the Fleur. Yeah, and he got all annoyed.
Well, yeah, because they were manipulating his stuff.
Well, yeah, it's it wasn't there during the investigation, so why put it in there? And
at this point, Beardo is suggesting that all of this stuff that's gone on here is why Grant left the show, and Jason says no. The live show was in 2008. Grant didn't leave till 2012.
Yeah.
He said, but what happens? He says, when you are on the road 5-6 days a week, he says, you wear thin on each other. He said and he talked about, he worked together. They were plumbers together. He actually taught him. He was his, I guess when you apprentice, you work with somebody. So he was the guy that he worked with. And he said he taught him to be a plumber.
Right.
But he says you wear thin on each other, and he said that several times. He didn't go into specifics, but he basically said, their rift happened. That's Grant's business, and he said that's his own private business.
Yeah.
And so he said, I think what it comes down to was this: after 2000, I don't know when this happened. When 2012, when Grant left, he said the show was pulled by the network. And then later, I think that was when they were still on Destination America, wasn't it?
I think so.
Because that's where they were first. Because that's where we discovered them. Anyway, then they were approached by a different network.
Yeah.
Could have been they went to Travel too. I don't know. Anyway, then they were approached by a different network, and everybody said yes, they would love to reboot everything except for Grant. And so they didn't go. They said, nope, we go as a team all together or not at all. And then they asked Jason, sorry, I'm stuttering a bit. I'm trying to read my notes. They asked Jason to then head up a new team. Right. And he said, no.
Yeah.
It's with his team or not at all.
Yeah.
Because he says he trusts them. He trusts them.
Yeah.
So at that point, he said the Travel Channel approached him for a new show. And I think this is when Ghost Nation came around.
Right.
So they approached him for a new show, and then Grant was approached to do the show for A&E with the new team, and he accepted. And he said that just rubbed us all the wrong way.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have done it without him, so why should he do it without us?
Yeah.
And that's where the rift between him came. He said it was like a gut punch.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty strong.
And it is. It's kind of like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
I
mean, if it wasn't for TAPS and Ghost Hunters, he wouldn't have gotten to where he was.
Right.
To that level of fame. And nobody knows or knew about any of this stuff. I mean, this really puts everything in a whole different light for me. I thought Jason was the shit in all of this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was Grant. Yeah. He does say that he still is one of his dearest friends, and he would be there in a heartbeat for him if he ever needed anything.
Right.
But he doesn't seem to allude that they are friendly now.
Yeah, they're not like coffee buddies or something like
No,
that.
no. So,
Yeah,
yeah. But all
yeah,
along, I thought all of this stuff was because Jason. Okay, I
yeah.
mean, you see him, especially in the early days of Ghost Hunters, he was pretty,
Pretty
I wouldn't say aggressive, but
porcupine.
he very prickly. To some of the people, like Dustin. He was mean to Dustin and a couple others he was really short with. And so I just assumed that was him. He was a nasty bastard, and no wonder they went their separate ways. No. Interesting. Interesting. So yeah, they worked together for 15 years or they knew each other for 15 years prior to the show, then all the show. Then they owned that hotel and bar together. I don't know. I don't think they still do. I think they sold that. But all this time spending together, yeah, rifts grew. So I found it really, really interesting and have a whole different outlook on Jason now. I'm going to have to go back and watch some of this stuff over again and, you know, cut him the slack that I wasn't cutting him before because I thought it was all his fault. What do you think?
Yeah, and I'm about to say, yeah, I'm gonna have to do the same thing because I was so bitter and disappointed with Jason, and it was misplaced disappointment, and I can apologize for that. But yeah, so I'm gonna go back and watch the old.
Yeah, some of those old stuff with a fresh eye, and
Yes,
see
and
if
not
maybe
be bitter about
jaded.
it.
Yeah, not be so jaded about it.
Yeah.
And that's a good lesson for us, actually. We have strong opinions.
No, really? I never noticed you have strong opinions.
Yes, I have very strong opinions, especially about certain most haunted shows.
Yeah. Don't get me started on her.
That one's not going to change, though, since I had given that one a second chance, and it was just as bad as the first time I watched them.
Yeah. If you're going to squeal, just don't bother.
For all of you that have not listened to our take on Most Haunted, that very long-running UK paranormal show, go have a listen.
Oh, yes.
You really like that team, in which case don't. Because you're going to not be very happy with me. Oh, my goodness.
Or me.
Or you, yeah. Oh, my. Did I tell you we got our first hater message on YouTube?
Yes, you did. Somebody popped their cherry.
Somebody was very upset that they saw Mindseed TV's name in our review list as a title of one of our episodes. And I don't think she even bothered to go listen to the episode. She just assumed that we were broadcasting their stuff.
Oh, if you're going to be a hater, do it properly. Listen to
us. Hate us for the right reasons, okay?
Yeah.
Your opinions mean shit. Go away, lady and man.
But, Jason, Beardo, and all of them said, they will attack you without even knowing. So
they don't know what they're talking about. It's just people. There are so many people that just want to be negative.
Yeah.
And they have their favorite people, they're big fans, and that's it.
Yeah. And Lord help you if you don't have
something bad. And the funniest part of it is that particular episode, we actually liked them in that episode.
Yeah.
So, that was a positive review. She could have just listened to it and known what we were doing, but no.
Yeah.
That's another one of those people that we want to go back and have a watch sometime in the next little while, because we have heard some negative things lately. We want to go take a peek.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that we hate them. It just means we're going
Yeah.
to go and have our second look, which is quite
Yeah.
often what I think we've been starting to do. Go
Yes.
back and have another look. And just to see if we were right the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I can honestly say from mine's sake, they weren't smoking. They weren't smoking and breaking into abandoned places and almost
Yeah.
killing their crew.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
trying to get away from the cops, you know? And
oh yeah, that was some.
I
That was a
couldn't
good
get
one.
over that.
I
Yeah.
saw the same guy on an episode of, oh, what was it? Not was it Paranormal Caught on Camera or something? And yeah, I think it was. And it
Yeah.
was a team. Now he was just one of the members of the 3-person team.
Right.
Yeah, and he was there. Yeah, that's right. And at
Yeah.
first I looked at him, I went, oh no, no. And then a different fellow was the lead, and he was actually quite
Right.
well spoken. But even then, in that other one, he was holding a cigarette. Like, what the hell? I don't get it. Yeah, I just don't get it. Anyway, anyways, that was all we were going to talk about today was Jason's video, which I think I think everybody should have a listen and a watch because it really does set some things straight, I think. And I think that was the intention. Like I said, he doesn't really address his daughter and her boyfriend, but I didn't think he would. Not in any great detail, not in public. I think that one he would address privately. You know, Bruce? Hmm. So we seem to have lost each other. Bruce and I are recording remotely today because I am away from home working. And so, anyways, yeah. So that's all we have to say for today. It's a good video. I encourage you to watch it, just to have a different perspective on things, I think. Anyway, that's it for today. Have a great afternoon, great evening, great morning, wherever you happen to be in this world. Happy haunting. Bye now.